First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
A new building could bring significant safety upgrades to the Gainesville Regional Airport.
And the giving season has just begun, with some Gainesville organizations contributing. We begin tonight with news out of Columbia County, a missing teen. I'm Evan Moon.
And I'm Nicolette Perdomo. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement has issued a missing child alert for a 17-year-old Columbia County girl. Deputies say Caitlin Friezina left her home sometime Sunday morning on her own and never came back. She left her cell phone behind and erased all of her contacts. Authorities believe the teen may be with a family friend and soccer coach 27-year-old Ryan Rodriguez.
Communicated during the week through Thanksgiving, and now, I texted him first thing that morning, hey, have you heard anything? Have you talked to anybody that knows? And I haven't heard anything. When I call his phone, it goes to, I can't get a hold of him.
The Columbia County Sheriff's Office says the pair might be in Rodriguez's red Mercury Sable with Florida tag Z04CSC. Authorities say the teen recently withdrew $200 from an ATM in St. Mary's, Georgia. The Columbia County School Board has suspended Rodriguez from his soccer coaching duties at Fort White High School pending the outcome of the investigation.
And the Thanksgiving leftovers are gone. The Black Friday shopping is over.
But shopping for those in need and donating to important causes continues. That's the focus of Giving Tuesday. WUFT's Kara Spirito heard how the Giving Spirit is helping North Central Florida charities.
And the hashtag Giving Tuesday has been trending across all social media platforms throughout today. And organizations in Gainesville say even the smallest of donations can go a long way.
The sound of food being delivered to people in need, a sound that is all too familiar for Loretta Griffiths here at the Bread of the Mighty Food Bank.
Until you get involved, you have no idea what is really going on in the community.
Loretta has volunteered with Bread of the Mighty Food Bank for 7 years and will continue to volunteer as local people in need continue to inspire her to help others.
The little girl was probably 3, and she went home. She said, "Mommy, I want to do a food drive." So, that first year, she brought in over 200 pounds of food.
And today in Gainesville, this organization is hoping to expand its impact, participating in the global push of Giving Tuesday. Here, $1 can mean up to 7 meals.
What people can do here locally with that Giving Tuesday donation would make a huge impact to feed those in the community.
Carla hopes the community can come together this Giving Tuesday to help end the hunger that touches so many in this region.
When you sit down with your family and you have a nice meal and you're all there and being thankful that you're together, a lot, 1 in 5 in our community and 1 in 4 children don't have that. And that's why we're here. And we're hoping the community will help us provide that to those who need it.
A need that can be eased, one donation at a time.
One person can make a difference. You can sometimes think, oh, the problem is huge and it's overwhelming, but one person can make a difference.
Bread of the Mighty Food Bank provides food to 5 surrounding counties. They delivered more than 7.5 million pounds of food to doorsteps last year. If you want to help on this Giving Tuesday or any time of the year, you can visit breadofthemighty.org.
Thanks, Kara. Well, walking down here, I definitely noticed a change in temperature. I think we might be losing some of our cooler temperatures.
WUFT's Lee Southwick joins us now from the Weather Center. Lee, can we expect a cool down tonight?
Not that much, actually. In fact, temperatures will struggle to get below 60 degrees. I'm predicting a low of 58 for Gainesville, so not much of a cool down. Here's a look at your local radar, and we did see some coastal showers today, but right now all is clearing out except for off the coast of Jacksonville. Now, temperatures are starting to cool down, 77 in Gainesville and Ocala, 78 in Lake City, but again, they won't cool down very much tonight. We'll be at around 69 degrees at 6 p.m. and then only cooling down to 59 by 4 a.m. The skies will be partly cloudy, and we also can expect some patchy fog. Areas could be dense in the inland areas, so make sure to use those low beams if you're heading out early tomorrow morning. Back to you.
Thank you, Lee. Well, GPD says they see an increase in theft around the holidays.
Officers encourage people to check and double check their homes to prevent break-ins, but they say extra precaution needs to be taken if you're expecting packages to be delivered to your doors. WUFT's Mary Grace Scully joins us now with more.
Well, Nicolette and Evan, it's one day after Cyber Monday, and GPD is anticipating many packages to be delivered to front doors and is asking people to keep a mindful eye out for your neighbors and for suspicious activity.
Home security systems help deter burglars, but thieves can still steal your belongings if they're delivered to your front steps.
People get a lot of things delivered this time of year. A lot of people have moved from traditional retail shopping to online shopping, which means just a huge influx of packages.
GPD has arrested package thieves stealing off doorsteps, but says the stolen items are not always returned.
Sometimes the packages and the items are recovered, but sometimes they've already been sold, fenced as we call it, to different buyers in the area.
It happened to Gainesville resident Megan McKayla.
UPS said it was delivered, Amazon said it was delivered, and I never saw the package.
That's exactly what neighbors in Duck Pond community are trying to avoid. They're taking action to ensure safety around the holidays.
It's great when we have the Crime Watch meeting and that the officers do remind us of a lot of things that are going on that we're not abreast of, unless we meet with them.
The community is close-knit and dedicated to looking out for each other with the holidays approaching.
Just good to know what's going on in the neighborhood and to reacquaint yourself with your neighbors, find out who's traveling, who's going to be away from the house.
And GPD says it's important to speak up if you see suspicious activity.
That's why we're always encouraging people, if they see someone suspicious out during the day, during night, see suspicious people, to call law enforcement. That's what we're here for. You're never going to bother us by placing a call and letting us know that you see something suspicious.
Officer Ben Tobias also told me people can ensure the safe delivery of packages by having them delivered to your work office or the post office, and asking your neighbors to be on the lookout for packages in case you are not home when they are delivered.
With the holiday season on our heels, consumers are out in full force, and so are scammers. Holiday discounts, sales, and deals entice consumers to shop in stores and online each year. But it's during this season that scammers are most active. According to a 2015 FBI report, Florida ranked second in the number of alleged scam victims. UF Assistant Professor Brandon McFadden says there are a few ways consumers can stay cautious this holiday season.
So I would say definitely look out for any deals that look too good to be true. But I would also say read reviews about sellers, or if you're selling something, even read reviews about buyers, which some sites have.
Although many consumers are becoming more conscientious, there's still that will fall victim this year. If you or someone you know falls victim to a scam, you can report it on the Better Business Bureau website at bbb.org/scam tracker.
Short-term home sharing company AIRBNB announces users can now split the cost when renting a home. In December 2016, AIRBNB CEO Brian Chesky asked users on Twitter what new feature they want to see in 2017. One of the top requests was the ability to split payments. Clients can now split the cost with up to 16 people. The update was released today and is available in 175 countries with the exception of India and China.
Gainesville Regional Airport passengers might notice a new building close to the runway. WUFT's Andrea Guerrero explains the new structure will help airport first responders be more prepared than ever before.
Station 6 now has a new location. The placement of the new building will make a huge difference for airport fire rescue. AFR will be closer to commercial runway, where 80% of the calls come from.
Push us that much closer to save time and save lives and make a difference.
The $3.5 million project was almost entirely funded by the Federal Aviation Administration.
Our firefighters will now have clear views to the runways as they go about their daily business, as well as access to CCTV cameras and flight information, which displays to maintain situational awareness.
As important as it is having the station here for safety, it also holds a deep meaning for those who work here.
Lieutenant Johnson, a 25-year department veteran, took on a new duty with the project and helped design this building.
Well, this is part of my footprint in the history of Gainesville Fire Rescue. I feel like I've personally made quite a few changes for the department, but this is the one that people will be able to see and recognize the most.
This building is just another way GFR is trying to redefine themselves in the community. Andrea Guerrero, WUFT News.
This project was started in January and construction will be complete within the next 2 weeks.
Rap and R&Bs grabbed the spotlight at today's Grammy Award nominations. WUFT's entertainment reporter David Jones has more.
The Grammy nominations are out and Rap and R&B is in. Jay-Z led the way with 8 nominations, including Album and Song of the Year for 444 and Record of the Year for The Story of O.J. Meanwhile, Bruno Mars is also in the hunt for the Big 3 awards. Album of the Year for 24 Karat Magic. That title track is also up for Record of the Year, while the album's hit, That's What I Like, is in the running for Song of the Year. And let's not leave out Kendrick Lamar. His album Damn is an Album of the Year contender, and one of its tunes, Humble, is a nominee for Record of the Year. And another nominee for both Record and Song of the Year, Despacito by Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and Justin Bieber. Childish Gambino, and that's the stage name for actor Donald Glover, is another multiple nominee. Album of the Year for Awaken My Love, and Record of the Year for Redbone. For WUFT Entertainment News, I'm David Jones.
Coming up on WUFT News first at 5, the Senate is preparing to vote on its tax reform bill. We'll tell you what Democrats and Republicans are saying ahead of the big vote.
And take a look at that sunset. Temperatures right now 76 degrees on the University of Florida campus. We reached near 80 degrees today, and we're going to do it again tomorrow. I'll have the details coming up.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome back. President Trump took a trip to Capitol Hill, making another big push for tax reform.
WUFT's political anchor Grace King joins us now with more on the president's efforts.
Nicolette Evan, a government shutdown is looming as President Trump makes one more push to Congress to pass the budget. But earlier, Trump ended a bipartisan meeting before it even started with a single tweet. Here's NBC's Blaine Alexander in Washington with how that tweet brought us one day closer to a shutdown.
President Trump's focus today, Congress, courting Republicans and further alienating Democrats.
Mr. President, do you have the votes on tax reform?
The president meeting with Senate Republicans ahead of this week's planned tax reform vote, hoping to sway 6 GOP members who have not yet committed.
Think of sitting there with a Rubik's Cube, trying to get to 50. And we do have a few members who have concerns, and we're trying to address them.
Making the GOP sell harder, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office predicts Americans making less than $75,000 a year will fare worse under this plan, while wealthy Americans will benefit.
Kill that bill! Don't kill us!
Outside today's committee meeting, protesters lining up by the dozens. Democrats set to meet with President Trump and Republican leaders today at the White House quickly pulled out after the president tweeted, "I don't see a deal with Chuck and Nancy to avoid a government shutdown."
Rather than going to the White House for a show meeting that won't result in an agreement from a president who doesn't see a deal, we've asked Leader McConnell and Speaker Ryan to meet with us.
Republicans throwing the blame back at Democrats. Leader McConnell saying if they're not willing to meet, they're not serious about making a deal. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
As legislators continue debating how to avoid a shutdown, Gainesville residents took to the street to voice their opinion. The group joined statewide protests yesterday afternoon, held in front of places like Senator Marcos Rubio's offices, voicing opposition to the plan. Protesters with Indivisible Gainesville gathered around the corner of Northwest 43rd Street and 16th Boulevard, calling the legislation a, quote, tax scam, and asking drivers to call Senator Rubio and voice their opposition. Gainesville resident Hugh Suggs says it's important for him to demonstrate outside, despite losing his legs in an accident years ago.
It doesn't stop me, though, from coming out here and holding signs and being a voice for the regular people, the people that this bill is really saying you're not important anymore.
Senate Republicans in Washington have until next Friday to hash out the $1.5 trillion tax plan. As for Congress, there are only 11 legislative days left before the end of the year. And next week, employers will no longer have to include birth control in their health insurance plans. That's because the Trump administration is rolling back the contraceptive care mandate. One group is making a last-minute push to prevent that change from happening.
Safety is important.
That's just one of the thoughts Jay Davis hears every day. She's currently touring the Southeast with the Keep Birth Control Free movement.
I don't want kids.
A movement that's helped her before.
I have used contraceptives in the past to plan my family.
But with the Trump administration's rollback, Davis and thousands of other women could lose access to birth control. So she decided to get on a bus and advocate for her right to choose when to have a family.
Having contraceptives readily available to me gave me that choice.
UF professors and students stopped by to hear what Davis's group had to say.
But I teach a lot of classes about women's health, and I'm interested in actions students can take to improve the climate for women's reproductive health.
Alyssa Zucker added rolling back the contraceptive mandate is short-sighted. Still, others disagree.
Private companies, private businesses shouldn't be forced to engage in practices that they don't feel comfortable with doing, and one of those includes paying for people's birth controls.
Lemos called the Obama-era mandate, quote, un-American, and is excited for this rollback to take place. Davis, however, says the choice should belong to individuals, not companies.
It's important for students and individuals to have that choice and to have that right.
So far, Davis has visited 10 college campuses and collected about 2,000 signatures. A couple hundred of those came from UF students earlier today.
Thank you, Grace. Check out this view from inside the Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Lee told us earlier that tomorrow will be nearly 10 degrees warmer than normal for this time of year.
That does sound like Florida. Lee, it's almost December. When will it feel like fall again?
Well, we're not going to feel like fall this week at least. We're going to stay above average through the rest of this week. And right now, our radar is looking mainly dry, so not a lot of clouds to cool us off. We're actually going to stay warm tonight. Our temperatures right now falling to 76 degrees in Gainesville, 75 in Ocala, 78 in Lake City, and then they're going to continue to fall, but not by a lot. So right in the upper 60s right around 6 p.m. and then continuing to fall to the upper 50s by 4 a.m., a low of 58 in Gainesville tonight. Not a chance for rain in the inland areas. The skies will be partly cloudy. We could see some coastal showers though along the first coast area overnight, but inland will stay dry. However, we do have to worry about some fog. So patchy fog is possible in north central Florida until about 9 a.m. tomorrow. Some areas could see some locally dense fog, so make sure to use those low beams if you're out early driving to work. And then we're going to continue to stay warm. However, we have this high pressure building which is pushing the jet stream north, and we're just going to stay above average through the next couple days. And that's the first of my 3 big things. We do have a frontal passage that is approaching Thursday night. However, it's weak, so our temperatures are not going to fall, and we're not going to receive a lot of rain from this either. We actually will stay dry here in north central Florida. Our temperatures, however, will return back to normal on Monday. I'll show you that in just a second. But first, for our Wednesday afternoon high temperatures, 80 in Gainesville, 80 in Ocala, 78 in Lake City, and 79 in High Springs. Those skies will be partly cloudy. Thursday afternoon, still warm, 78 in Gainesville, 77 in Lake City, 78 in Ocala. Now we're going to continue to stay warm because even though we do have this frontal boundary, this cold frontal boundary passing through, we're only going to receive the tail end of that, and it's weak. So we're going to continue to stay much warmer through Sunday. But then, however, on Sunday, we see this dip in the jet stream and it will push those cooler temperatures back to us. So we're warmer and we're drier, and that is typical of a La Nina winter, which we are in right now, and we're looking ahead and continuing to see that trend. So this is 8 to 14 days out, and our precipitation will be below average here in Florida, moving on to temperatures right near to above average. So again, this is typical of this time of year, this La Nina winter, and you can see that on my 6th day as well. We're staying warm near 80 degrees tomorrow. Then Thursday, that weak frontal boundary does near us, but it doesn't really cool us off. Check out those temperatures, not a chance for rain either. And we're going to continue to stay warm until about Sunday. That's when we see that dip in the jet stream and our temperatures start to return to near normal on Monday. Back to you.
Thanks, Lee. Yesterday, the University of Florida welcomed new football head coach Dan Mullen to the Swamp.
However, the team said goodbye to some familiar faces as well. WUFT's Bree Maxwell joins us now with more.
That's right, Nicolette. As many expected, there's been some movement among the coaching staff. When we come back, I'll tell you more about some of the recent hires and fires for the team under new head coach Dan Mullen. Don't change that channel. Sports is up next. Welcome back to sports. I'm Bree Maxwell. The changes surrounding the Gator football team seems to be never ending. It was announced today that 6 coaches will not be returning to the staff of new head coach Dan Mullen, while 2 other coaches were brought on. Mullen has decided not to bring back defensive coordinator Randy Shannon, offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier, defensive line coach Rob Akey, defensive backs coach Corey Bell, wide receivers coach Kerry Dixon II, and special teams coordinator and tight end coach Greg Nord. Before any changes were made official, 2 Mississippi State coaches changed their Twitter handles to Florida. Billy Gonzalez, who served as co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach, and John Hevesy, who also served as the co-offensive coordinator. Both coaches returned to Florida with championship experience. Gonzalez and Hevesy coached under former head coach Urban Meyer when the Gators won national championships back in 2006 and 2008. Earlier today, they were officially announced as Gator assistant coaches. And if you thought you knew which teams would be in the top 4 college football playoff spots, you probably should guess again. Tonight, the College Football Playoff Committee will reveal the top 25 teams, and there could be some changes at numbers 1 through 4. To the surprise of some, top-ranked Alabama fell to Auburn on Saturday, 26-17. The Crimson Tide can say goodbye to the number 1 spot, which they have only held on to for 2 weeks. The Miami Hurricanes suffered defeat as well after falling 24-14 to unranked Pittsburgh. The turnover chain was ineffective, and offensive struggles proved to be the difference in the game. As for the new poll, here's a look at what the top 4 spots could look like. The Clemson Tigers could be the number 1 team after beating South Carolina. Baker Mayfield and the Oklahoma Sooners could be at number 2 after beating West Virginia. Unbeaten Wisconsin could come in at number 3, and we could see a new team join the mix with the Auburn Tigers at number 4. Tune into ESPN tonight at 7 to find out who's in. Gator Women's Hoops returns home tonight. The team will host the Jacksonville University Dolphins. JU comes into Gainesville with a 4-2 record and are coming off of a 64-43 win on Saturday. Florida leads the series between the 2 teams 3-1. Head coach Cam Newbauer said tonight could be a tough matchup.
They've got some senior veterans that really do a great job leading the team. Defensively, mix it up, very, very athletic and aggressive defensively. Get up and try to extend your offense out from where you want to run it. Very good team, dangerous team, and I know it's a big deal for them to be coming in here tomorrow night to be playing us for sure.
The team is coming off of an impressive win in their final game of the Savannah Invitational. It was raining threes from the Peach State as the Gators made a program-high 17 three-pointers in their 50-point win over Savannah State. In that game, sophomore Delisha Washington had an outstanding performance with her first career triple-double. The Gators will look to continue the momentum in tonight's game. Tip-off is at 7, and you can catch coverage on SEC Network Plus or ESPN Gainesville 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF. Meanwhile, the Gator men's basketball team moved up to number 6 in the AP poll. Despite the 87-84 loss to Duke on Sunday, the Gators showed they could hold their own against the number 1 team. Milestones were set for some of the Gator men as well. Junior guard Kayvon Allen scored his 1,000th career point. Allen became the 53rd Gator in program history to join the 1,000-point club. In addition to Florida, there are currently 3 other SEC schools in the AP Top 25. Those teams include Kentucky, Texas A&M, and Alabama. The Gators will have a lengthy time to rest before taking on rival Florida State next week.
And they say beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
And that includes Christmas trees. Check out this tree. It's in Montreal, Canada. Many are saying it's ugly, not the typical fir tree you see in your living room. This is the 2nd year in a row Montreal has displayed this tree with a deliberate droop. This Canadian village also sells ugly vegetables to prove that nature is perfectly imperfect. And before we go, one last check on the weather.
Well, the sun is setting and those temperatures are falling. Right now, 78 in Lake City, 77 in Gainesville, 76 in Ocala. Now we're going to cool off tonight, but not by a lot. 56 for your overnight low in Lake City, 58 in Gainesville, 60 in Ocala. So those southern counties might not even reach the 50s. Back to you.
Thanks, Lee. Our Spanish headlines are coming up just before 6, right between global newscasts from England and Germany. We'll have an English update just before the PBS NewsHour at 7.
And our news team will bring you another show tomorrow at 5 o'clock, but your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.